Hey everybody, and happy Wednesday! I'm popping in a little bit early today and on a different day of the week actually than I normally do because I am going out of town for a few days. But I really wanted to jump on and chat with you guys, so I'm going out today and I'll make sure that the replay is available and everything so that you guys can catch it whenever you're available to. And today I actually want to talk to you about the importance of taking breaks, both why we need to take breaks and how we can fit more breaks into our lives. And it doesn't always have to look like taking a few days off like I'm about to do. It can look like fitting it into our daily lives, but I will get to that later. First, we're going to talk about why we need to take breaks. Breaks are so important for a few different reasons. First, they give us perspective. Taking a step back from a problem, taking a step back from something that's stressing us out or leaving us frustrated, or even just something that we are fully immersed in, can give us renewed perspective. We can approach it from a different angle. We can realize that it's actually not that big of a deal. Something that we've been freaking out about or worrying about or sitting there staring at, just trying so hard to figure it out. If we step back and take a break and then return, we might see it's not that big of a deal, or this solution is actually really obvious, or someone else might be able to help us with it. And that perspective is just so refreshing because it helps us kind of see things as they really are and not blow things out of proportion or make a mountain out of a molehill. Breaks can also help us de-stress and relax, both physically and mentally or emotionally, because we get so wrapped up in everything that we're focusing on and everything that we're doing that our bodies tense up and our minds just get so wrapped up in these things that we're focusing on that taking a break gives us an opportunity to breathe, to relax, to maybe use our muscles or our brains in a different way that changes things up and just gives us an opportunity to think about something else and do something else. And we need that kind of variety, right? It's not good for us to just sit and just do one thing, to use our bodies and our minds in just one way. We need to mix it up from time to time. We need to keep things changing and moving to challenge ourselves and grow ourselves. And so getting those breaks really helps us to not spend our whole day stressing about the things that are in front of us, but it gives us that break to just relax, to breathe, to again gain better perspective, to remember the good things instead of just focusing on the hard or stressful things. And taking breaks gives us a chance to come back renewed and refreshed. It's really hard to do that when we're immersed in what we're doing, whether it's good or bad. We're so focused on the task at hand or the activity that we're doing that we don't think about our attitude toward it. We don't think about how we can rest. And when we take a break to rest or to engage in some other kind of peaceful activity, we can come back with greater energy. We feel like we've been refueled and like we can really just go at it and get things done and be productive and be creative and be energized. I know I need that. That's part of why I start my day with exercise and time reading the Bible and time in prayer, because those things energize me. And it's also why I take breaks for walks when I can, when the weather allows and it fits into my schedule, and I try really hard to make that fit because I need that break from the screen. I need that break from my to-do list, because that's when the wheels in my head start turning. That's when I start thinking about, ooh, I could write about this thing, or I could talk about this thing, or ooh, that's a fun business idea. Those are the moments when my brain is free to just come up with new ideas and new perspectives and new approaches to problems that I've been thinking about for a while. So taking breaks is so vital to our lives and our relationships and our work and our businesses. It's important for all of those things. Okay, but how, right? We need the nitty-gritty details. It's one thing to talk about why it's important, kind of in an idealistic way. It's another thing to actually implement it, right? So We can obviously take vacations and take trips to get a break, but even those are sometimes stressful, right? Especially if you're the one planning it or facilitating it. There are all kinds of details that go into it, and that's not always restful, which is what we're going for, right? We're talking about taking breaks as a form of self-care, and going on a giant family trip that's jam-packed with activities probably isn't all that restful, at least for most of us. So I'm going to offer some more practical tips for us to fit breaks into our everyday lives, because that's how we're going to see the biggest difference. Not when we take a week once a year, which is great, and I would love to do that, and I'm hoping to make some plans to do that. But it's more applicable for us to talk about our everyday lives, because our work and our families and our involvement in our community is not going to change. So we get the chance to figure out how to fit our breaks around our other activities. So we can find time to take mini breaks throughout our day. Our breaks don't have to be long. It can be just 2 minutes to go walk to the water cooler and get a drink, or to make yourself a cup of tea. I did that earlier and it was super restful. It could be a walk around the block in the middle of the day or after dinner. It could be getting up just 5 minutes earlier to savor your cup of coffee before anyone else is awake in the house. It could be just taking 5 minutes before you go to bed, or 5 minutes at lunch, to just spend time by yourself to think about what you're grateful for. It could be any matter of things, but just remember, it doesn't have to be a long stretch of time, especially if you don't have the time for that. Maybe you can work up to it, but you can start small. You can start with just 30 seconds of thinking of what you're grateful for, or just breathing, or paying attention to what you're doing, or I don't know. There are any number of things we can do to just take a break for a moment, to just de-stress, to let ourselves relax in the midst of our days, and then we can get right back to what we were doing with greater creativity and productivity, which will obviously benefit us in so many ways, because we need those things in every area of our lives. We can maybe set aside an afternoon or an evening block. Maybe when you're home from work, you can take a walk, or you can make an afternoon cup of tea, or you can read a book for a little bit, or you can grab coffee with a friend on your way home. Or maybe after dinner, you can go for a walk around the block. I know I keep saying the same suggestions, but these just sound really fun to me. And then they're things that I like to do, but maybe something like a bubble bath would be a better break for you. Or watching a little sitcom or a comedy video, or whatever it is that you find to be restful and restorative. Maybe it's listening to an audiobook or listening to your favorite music. You can fit those things in even on your drive home from work, or your drive to work, or to the grocery store. Like, all of these ordinary things are opportunities for us to incorporate rest and breaks into, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And I hope you're realizing that it can be really simple to just figure out how to incorporate more of what you love, more of what brings you rest and joy into your everyday life right where you're at. And one of the things that I have found super helpful for incorporating more breaks is to take a screen break and a social media break. Now, I know these things sound really simple on the surface, and they are, but that doesn't mean it's always easy, right? We think we're gonna miss out. We think we're not gonna know that, like, our friend's pregnant, or these other friends got engaged, or we're gonna miss out on, celebrity gossip or the news or something. But we're not. Like, no one notices, and even if by some small chance they do, they won't care that you took a day to yourself, or a weekend, or that you decide to shut your phone off at night, or stop scrolling through social media all day long. But we can engage intentionally and make the most of this technology at our fingertips and use it for good, and then we can walk away from it. We don't have to get caught up in the FOMO, in the comparison. We can choose to turn it off and spend time with the people that are our real life people. We can be present with them, and the easiest way to do that is to turn off the screens, to put our phones away, to shut our computers, to turn off the television, all of it, and to just enjoy the company of the people around us. And it's amazing what you can notice when you're not staring at a screen. Even just going for a walk outside and paying attention to the trees and the flowers and the plants and the wind and everything is so amazing and so inspiring in a way that nothing on the internet is. So I encourage you to figure out the best way for you to take a screen break or a social media break, even if it's just for a couple hours, even if it's for a weekend, or maybe it's on a schedule. You have certain times during the day when you're available and certain times when you're not. Whatever that looks like for you, I encourage you to figure it out and to take the kind of break that you need and to make it a regular part of your life. All right, I hope that helped you guys. That's all I have for today. I will be back next week with some more videos, and I will keep sharing my tips for self-care for July, because that's our theme in my group, the Joy and Full Living Community. So if you guys are interested in those, hop on over there. And if you want any more personal help with figuring out how to make time for self-care or taking breaks, or how to simplify your approach to things in your life and business, I would love to talk to you personally. You can comment below, you can DM me. I would love, love, love to chat with you. All right, guys.